The Elgin Valley hosted an enthralling stage 1 of the Absa Cape Epic as the fickle Cape autumn weather contributed to much of the drama, most of which unfolded on the slopes of Nberg. The early casualties were 4th place Cargo Pro. A puncture was followed by Swedish champion Emil Lindgren crashing on the descent. The result in broken elbow, ending he and Brendan Davids' race.
And it just clicked. I don't know if I dislocated it or something, but it just clicked, and it's like sound when you break a piece of wood.
Having taken the Didata hotspot, Topi Gergen suffered 2 flats, the second proving tricky to repair and costing them precious minutes and the chance of a stage victory. The yellow jersey wearers, Novazone ex-pro Geiger and Gujan, found the pace too hot and slid back in the standings on the rough, loose trails. The race boiled down to a thrilling duel between Team Bulls and Investec-Songo-Specialized, the latter driving the pace through the power of Yaroslav Kulhavy, but then they too fell foul of a puncture. 4-time winner Platt and Swiss hardman Huber seized their chance and surged ahead. The other quadruple champion, Sauser's deep hunger and Kulhavy's brute strength, saw the 2013 winners claw back the 2-minute deficit and eventually pass the Bulls to take a stunning victory at Oak Valley. The reward, the race leaders' yellow jerseys. The Sasol women's race was not without incident. The dominant RECM specialized pair of Kleinhans and Langvad had a big scare on the Nberg descent when Kleinhans fell hard. It could have been much worse, but they powered home to increase their lead over Ascendus Health. The cold and wet weather conditions contributed to what was already a brutally hard day for those riders at the back of the field. And much later in the day there was emotion and commotion and deep disappointment for many riders who missed the time limit out on the route and at the finish, where they were given the bad news that their official participation was at an end. 45 seconds separates Investec-Songo-Specialized and Team Bulls going into stage 2. Hermina and Van Hoots are stalking the GC contenders. The youthful Cruiser and Walker keep hold of the Absa Africa jersey. Kleinhans and Langvad have a firm grip on the Sasol women's race already. The battle for the minor placings intense, less than 5 minutes between Ascendus Health and Mirandal Wheeler. The Austrian Alliance have a handy lead in the mixed, while Sim and Fitzenmeyer will be looking to close down a narrow gap to Brenchens and Azevedo in the Dimension Data Masters. Bucher and Zorweg are well clear in the Grand Masters, but just 2 minutes and 29 seconds separates Nampak and Ascendus Health. There are a few nasty early climbs to negotiate on stage 2, most notably Nberg, where gradients reach 25%. The course then weaves over the hills above Grabone into single-track heaven. They'll have plenty of support at the Paul Kluwer Amphitheatre, with its unique bridges and North Shore-type elevated sections. As title sponsors for the last 10 years, Absa have maintained a tremendously high standard of commitment to the event, and more particularly to the riders. Nowhere is this more evident than in the Absa Rider Lounge, where riders can begin their recovery after a long, tough day. Ice baths, cooling misters, massages, great hospitality, food and drink. It's the perfect spot to unwind in peace and quiet, or chat about the day's happenings out on the trails with fellow riders. Riders awoke early to the sounds of strong winds sweeping the Elgin Valley. The flapping banners and gazebos an ominous sign of what's to come. The mood's somber, knowing that conditions such as these can add a whole new dimension to the race, from the backenders racing against the maximum allotted time to the top contenders. After a hard day on stage 1, all riders will aim to approach today conservatively.
Yeah, for the first day is always stressful, and I have to pace myself a little bit and save energy for the last days. I know from experience that I'm getting better and better during the stage race, so today just stay on the wheel and watch what happens.
All credit to the Absa Africa jersey wearers. The young USN team have been matching the world's best so far.
Yeah, yesterday was a massive day. I mean, it was a big day in the mountains, and anything can happen in the Epic. And I kept telling my partner that I said the race was never over, and it was never over. At one stage we were 4th in the African leaders jersey, but I knew we'd come back strong, and we managed to do just that.
What's the plan for today?
Yeah, today's stage is not so hard like yesterday. But I mean, it's very important as well. There is a lot of single trials, and yeah, our tactic is to keep the jerseys and no lose the time.
The category leaders take their cue from the start gun. Sauser and Kulhavy in the men's, Kleinhans and Langvad in the Sasol women's, Brenchens and Azevedo in the Dimension Data Masters, Bucher and Zorweg in the Grand Masters, and Hasselbacher and Sommer in the mixed. 1,200 riders snake their way out of the race village, led by the world's best. Established in 1898 by medical doctor Anthony Viljoen, Oak Valley Estate has over 4,000 oak trees covering 30 hectares of the farm, which is the site of the first deciduous fruit orchards in the valley. Early on the gas, Team Scott Factory Racing's Philip Bass and Matthijs Bierkes. For the third of the day's 92-kilometre distance single track, the stage would suit cross-country specialist Bass well. RECM Specialized in their orange Zebra Leaders jerseys, and mixed Team ENS RH77 in green, Sommer getting some help from Hasselbacher. 5Ks into the race, a steep climb to root out the pretenders in this elite group. Bass piles on the pressure, stretching out the field. After the Absa Cape Epic, his season will consist mainly of races of 90 minutes. He's used to these intense efforts. The marathon specialists, who take a little longer to get their legs going, will curse Bass for forcing the pace so early on in the stage. All the major contenders are in attendance. Investec-Songo-Specialized, Topi Gergen, Multivan Merida, Bulls, Novosome X Pro and USN. Looking dominant again, Team RECM Specialized Ariane Kleinhans leads Annika Langvad on the climb. Kleinhans having dodged a bullet on stage 1 with a crash that could have been very nasty. Jenny Stenehag of Team Ascenders Health keeps an eye out for partner Robin de Groot. Some recovery time for the front runners on the paved descent, a little less stressful cornering on firmer surfaces. The leaders on the road as it stands: Scott Factory Racing, Investec-Songo-Specialized, Bulls, Centurion, USN Multivan Merida, Topi Gergen and Novosome X Pro. They're nearing the big obstacle of the day, Nberg. A massive spike on the profile diagram which the riders have taped to their frames, a snapshot of the elevations of the stage. Alban Lecata and Christian Heine, keen to prove their prowess after a double flat hindered their campaign on stage 1. A line of riders follow, but for how long? RECM Specialized Tactics, Ariane Kleinhans leads on the climbs, Annika Langvad drives on the flats. Nberg. This time the feared climb is tackled from the eastern side, 5.5 kilometers and gradients of up to 25%. Christian Heine is heating up the pace. It's like he's on an e-bike. And there's a gap. Topi Gergen and Investec-Songo-Specialized have smoked out the group, leaving only 2 teams. It's a brave move attacking this early on a stage. Only the yellow zebra jerseys of Jaroslav Kulhavy and Christoph Sauser can follow. They know about the firepower of these 2 marathon specialists all too well. They'll not let them out of their sights if they can help it. The 2 teams share the work. They've elected to keep the move alive and put pressure on the others to chase. These 2 teams are exposed to the elements. The wind is howling out on the low slopes of the Hottentots Holland Mountains. A long day out in prospect. The chase group led by the Bulls 1 team, who started the day 45 seconds behind the yellow jersey pair, also in their 3rd place Multivan Merida. Lecata leads the breakaway down yet another rough descent. The wind bullies the riders on their left as they make their way past a young pine forest in the Grabo plantation. As the women approach the summit of the climb, it's Kleinhans on the front for RECM Specialized. The prize at the top of the windswept Nberg is the Sassel Women's Hotspot and a 15,000 Rand bonus. This team has yet to taste defeat in all the stage races they've competed in together. Robin de Groot and Jenny Stenehag, South African marathon champion and the Swedish marathon champion, had the perfect build-up to the 2015 Absa Cape Epic. In contrast, as Team Celeronda Honda, Bigham had major vascular surgery late last year and Coleman was a last-minute replacement. The Kuchelberg Biosphere is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with the Helderberg Basin lying to the south over the mountains. '2010 world champion in the marathon discipline, Alban Lecata keeps the pace high. All South African team, USN's Roar Cruiser and teammate Travis Walker, having another splendid day out at the Absa Cape Epic. They're lying in 6th overall and lead the Absa Africa jersey competition. Heineck and Lecata, Sauser and Kulhavy. 1 minute gap to the chasers. Tim Burma is one half of Karl Platt-Nusuva's backup team. He has his work cut out for him, right at the front against the wind to chase down Investec-Songo-Specialized and Topi Gergen. Lecata and Heineck apply big pressure, knowing full well that the Bulls, Multivan Merida and company will be on red alert, frantically organising the chase. Yaroslav Kulhavy less comfortable on the long climbs than on the flats. Burma is burning matches, keeping Karl Platt's hopes alive for a 5th Absa Cape Epic win. Lecata and Heineck go flat out, even though there's still a long way to go. The chasers doing the work are shedding those hangers on. Burma is all in. Topi Gergen started the day 4:37 down on the yellow jersey Investec-Songo-Specialized pair after a damaged tyre lost them valuable time against their chief rivals. Before the start, they and the 2013 champions were tipped as the two favourite teams. With no mechanicals today, it's man against man, and the cream has risen to the top. Defending yellow with stout resolve, Yaroslav Kulhavy and Christoph Sauser don't give Heineck and Lecata an inch. The chasers with everything to lose. Bulls 1 and 2, Multivan Merida, USN, Nberg's OMX Pro. Grinding it out on the steep loose tracks. Seated climbing to keep the weight on the back wheels. With the marble-sized rocks on the trail surface, one slip and traction is lost, forcing even the best riders to get off and walk. The marathon specialists enter the single-track forest. This is not their speciality, so they'll aim to keep their efforts smooth and avoid unnecessary risks. The pine trees offer shelter from the howling wind, and the Bulls enter the forest nearly 2 minutes back. They'll hope to make up time here, take a few chances. Topi Gergen and Investec-Songo-Specialized pick their way through. Reigning Olympic champion Yaroslav Kulhavy bides his time, watching affairs from the back. Flowing single track, heaven for mountain bikers, but today it's a battleground. 2010 cross-country world champion Hamida is nominated to take the lead on the narrow, twisty paths. The others have the luxury of following the smooth style of one of the best bike handlers in the world. And fastest too. The chasers have clawed back over a minute on Investec-Songo-Specialized and Topi Gergen. Langvad is a star on the UCI World Cup cross-country circuit. This terrain suits her well. Grandmaster leaders Zorweg and Bucher further solidifying their hopes for overall line honours in Mirandal on Sunday. Jenny Stennerhach and Robin de Groot marked closely by Sally Bigham and Janka Stefkova. It's a close race for second in the Sassel women's category. Now Kulhavy comes to the front, driving the group through the single track. He knows full well the prowess of Hamida and Van Hoots in this terrain. Investec-Songo-Specialized and Topi Gergen lead. The gap back to the chasers is under a minute. Bulls, Multivan Merida, Novus OMX Pro have them in their sights, a dangling carrot to chase. Into water point 2, and the leaders should ideally refuel and leave before the chasers arrive. Mission accomplished. The two teams' slick routines get them in and out in time. The chasers arrive soon after. They sensibly elect to spend the time restocking rather than risk hunger knock. It's a long week ahead. Topi Gergen are looking to take time out of Bulls and Multivan Merida. Investec-Songo-Specialized mark their every move to defend yellow. Lecata and Heineck have done the lion's share of the work so far. This could prove costly in the latter half of the race. The chasers, it's down to two teams now. Bulls and Multivan Merida working together against the strong winds. Up ahead, Yaroslav Kulhavy on the front now on a flat section, stretching his legs and unleashing some horsepower. The others hide in his draft. After his performance in the 2013 race, he was nicknamed the Czech Express, with Karl Platt saying, "If you don't catch the train, it's gone." For the chasing quartet, it's damage control. Kulhavy continues to drive hard whilst the others hang on for dear life, including partner Christoph Sauser. Again, it's the Spanish champion Hamida leading the way, keeping the time loss to a minimum. Kulhavy's time at the front begins to wear down the tired Alban Licata. The Austrian will need to stay close to the wheels to gain shelter from the wind. A strategy change for Multivan Merida in 2015, aiming for GC. They keep the time loss to a minimum. Novoso X Pro Bulls 2 and Ready blend the South Africans, pushing hard to get in contact. Investec-Songo-Specialized fly through the berm single track in Oak Valley. Licata and Heineck will need to apply maximum concentration now to stay in touch with the most decorated riders in the race. One mistake and they'll lose all their advantage they've worked so hard for. The Bulls take their turn at the front on the swooping trails. To any weekend rider, this is paradise. To Platt, Huber, Hamida, Van Hout, Geiger and Gujan, it's a very busy day at the office. Investec-Songo-Specialized in overdrive. They smell the blood of an Austrian man. Licata is suffering from his early efforts and is half a step off the pace. Ruthlessly, Jaroslav Kulhavy accelerates, pulling the noose tighter. Unaware of the street fight up ahead, Hamida pounds away at the pedals in the only way he knows. The Paul Kluwer Amphitheatre. Investec-Songo-Specialized and Topi Gogan navigate the intricate networks of high bridges and ramps. Crowds turn out to watch the great spectacle. Jaroslav Kulhavy and Christoph Sauser have throttles wide open, having dropped the rivals Alban Licata and Christian Heineck. Heineck nurses an ailing Licata home. They've accepted defeat but still have to fight off the Bulls for a podium spot overall. Kulhavy in high spirits. Another superb performance by the Czech and an excellent partner selection by Christoph Sauser. Hamida, Huber, Platt and Van Hout nearing the finish and a hero's welcome by the crowds in Oak Valley. Excitement and expectation from those gathered at the finish. A truly delighted Kulhavy powers over the line, congratulates Sauser for another job well done. They've extended their lead on overall. Though they were only second today, a remarkable ride by the Czech-Austrian pair. And four riders together, a sporting gesture by the Bulls, allowing Multivan Merida third spot, recognising the work share by Hamida and Van Hout. Four-time champion Platt, an exhausted man, having given his all to the Bulls' cause. A wonderful display of camaraderie between the world's top riders on the finish line. Ariane, Kleinhans and Annika Langvad crossed the line celebrating. However, timing and tracking records show they'd taken a wrong turn, shortcutting the course by 4.5 kilometres. The UCI commissaires deemed this not to have been a deliberate breach and therefore instead of disqualification, a 1-hour time penalty is docked. Plus there is an adjustment of 13 minutes and 38 seconds for the advantage gained by taking the shorter route, resulting in their loss of the zebra leader's jersey.
Jaro was pushing really hard and we increased the gap to Merida and Bulls, and it worked out perfectly, but in the end, the last 10 Ks, I struggled a little bit, or they pushed really hard, Specialized pushed really hard, and I had to say to Christian, just slow down, ride our own pace and get to the finish line second. That's good for today.
I think this year is definitely tougher. I mean, the teams are much closer. Suze is riding with a much stronger partner compared to last year. So it's definitely a bigger competition. It's more exciting, I think, for the spectators and for the followers. So it's definitely good for the race that there are so many teams that are actually fighting for the overall win. And good thing we are up there. We are both feeling quite well with Alban, and we will just wait for our moment. And we definitely want to win some stage, and still we do want to defend the title. That's the main goal, which remains.
I'm very confident because I've done so many epics. I've basically never broke down. It's very good to know that, but you always have a little better day or a worse day. For me, it's often if I had a super good day like yesterday, the legs were almost on autopilot. I knew, you could give every little bit into those pedals, and then it's gonna hit you the next day a little bit. So for me, today was hard. It was always felt like pushing, no freewheeling, but I think it was pretty much for everybody.
Another dominant ride by Sauser and Kulhavy. Topi Gergon signalled their intentions to fight all the way in defence of their crown. A top-class ride by Lil and Wilcock, the first of 4 local teams in the top 10. All change in the Sasol women's race, with the Senders Health elevated to their first stage win. Susan Pirard in second. RECM-Specialized finished outside of the top 10 following the imposition of the time penalty. In the mix, the first win for Wessel and Kraft, Sim and Fitzenmeier clawed back 5 seconds from Brenchensen Azevedo in the Dimension Data Masters. Bucher and Zorweg won their third stage, USN on the podium for the first time. After stage 2, Investec-Songo-Specialized now 6 minutes and 45 seconds ahead of the Bulls, who are just 11 seconds clear of Topi Gergon. The race for the Absa Africa jersey wide open. 3 minutes and 43 seconds separates the top 4 teams led by USN. De Groot and Stennehaag inherited the leader's jersey in the Sasol women's race. RECM are now 4th, just more than 27 minutes down. The race wide open. In the mix, Wessel and Kraft will be in green for stage 3. Hasselbach and Sommer just 135 back. It's almost as close in the Dimension Data Masters. Sim and Fitzenmeier 150 down on the leaders. Bucher and Zorweg lead the Grand Masters. McLean and Anderson now in second. Stage 3, the longest of the race at 128 kilometres, takes the riders to Worcester. Today's biggest climb is Tierkop over the eastern flank of Groenlandberg. Then comes the Serpent. The distinct Karoo landscape awaits. They must be wary of the rocky descents towards the Brandvlei Dam and Worcester.